Hi, this is Zak Mir with the US Chartbreakers here at Zak's Traders Cafe for Friday the 4th of April. Starting off with the S&P, where we've obviously gapped down yesterday and look set to do the same today as well when the market opens in about an hour and a half's time. Here we've got the main support, which we weren't expecting to be brought back into the fray, but the May support line there from last year, basically around 52.20, let's call it 5200, and below the initial March support there at 5500 or 5510. We're looking for 5200 on this market. But always a bad look when a support line gets broken, as that December one did just in yesterday's session. Moving along to the Nasdaq, which was never quite as strong as the S&P. Here we failed last week well below the initial 2025 support there, around 20,500. And the gap down yesterday also breaking that falling support line, not good. Main support here is from last summer, the August support there around 17,500, and that looks like where we're going to go after the RSI failure at 50 and then another RSI failure at 40. So at this stage, only being able to get back above the top of the latest gap there at 18,900, really the first sign of recovery, other than taking a crack at buying the falling knife there near 17,500. On to the stocks, and actually this Friday finding some bullish situations almost as bad as last Friday, which was rather strange because last Friday the market hadn't gone into tariff fear mode, but it was interesting that last Friday, when I was scouting around for bullish situations, there were hardly any, and that's quite amazing on a market as big as the US market. You'd expect that with the London market, and that has been a problem, but this is the first time in looking at it for many years that there was a day when it was difficult to find some rising stocks with interesting charts. But that said, yesterday we covered Alaunos, and you can see that we were up 50% on the previous close. That means that we hit our second target there, $3.90 above that. Looking for as much as $5.30, which is the upper parallel of that rising trend channel base from January. The upper parallel there from back in the summer. And while we're above the $3.80 level, the previous target of $3.90, if you want to be fussy, then we could get up to $5.30. On to a stock which is new to us, at least in the near term, Creative Global. And here, looks like we've got a decent rising trend channel there. Bear trap rebound from below the December support there, around $3.38, and above the 50-day line there at $4.30, looking for $10 by the end of next month. Which punchy call, especially in current markets, but let's see if Creative Global can deliver the goods. Perhaps in a time of tariff uncertainty, we have a good old-fashioned name like Goodyear to rely on. Here you can see we've got a rising 50-day line there at $9.19, above that, and especially above the $9.50 area, which was recent resistance. Looking for $12 by the end of this month, within a rising trend channel there from back in November. Next up is a situation which hopefully will be one of the few decent ones in the near term. Here we've got iCoreConnect, another stock which we've looked at very recently, and here you can see that the shares gapping up, filling the gap and then rising again, which is a good signal. The rising 50-day line as well near the low, helpful, and the unfilled gap off the low, even more helpful. Top of the triangle there at $9, and we're looking for that while we're above the 50-day moving average there at $1.55. I suppose you could tighten that up to the top of the latest gap there at $2.94 if you wish to. On to stock which is new to us, local Bounti. Here we've got a rising trend channel that's been in place since March 2024, and the top of the channel there heading towards $4. We also had previous resistance lines there before, but heading to $4 by the end of this month while we're above recent resistance at $2.50. Next up is another situation which hopefully will have legs even in the current horrific market, LZ Technology. Here we're guessing that we've got a rising trend channel and the shares have bounced off the floor of that channel 4 days in a row. Floor of the channel, they're around $6.90 above that. We're looking at the top of the range and the top of the channel towards $18 by the end of next month. Nvidia, one of the casualties at the moment, and it's interesting here that with the shares managing to fall out of a falling trend channel, which tends to be one of the worst scenarios you can have, especially when you do that with a gap. And below the top of that gap there at $107, the risk is a move down to as low as $80 by the end of next month, which is the lower parallel of that falling trend channel from back in September. Finishing off on a slightly brighter note, and here you can see that Skyline has progressed within this rising trend channel, rather illiquid stock, but we're guessing that the top of the channel there is up to $20, and we can hit that while we remain above the floor of the channel at $9, and especially while we're above the 50-day moving average, which is newly formed there at $8.46. Double bounce there above RSI 50, helping the cause as well, and giving us that extra bullish look towards $20. That's it for me today. More updates over the weekend.